Peter Labardius riding shotgun with me as the co-host, my longtime friend. And speaking of longtime friends, another gentleman who has spent some time in Montreal back in his McGill University days, the two-time Olympic gold medal winning coach and Stanley Cup champion, my good friend Mike Babcock. Michael, how are you?
I'm doing good, Rams. I thought we were doing radio, you guys. You guys got faces for radio. I can't believe they're letting you on TV like this.
I know. It's somebody should...
And in some cases, it's been going on for a long, long time. I've always said, Mike, I had a dream once. I wanted to look like a Greek god and had to settle for a damn Greek.
What can you do? Well, good to see you guys.
Good to see you, too. You're in Michigan, correct?
I am, yeah. This is our home here in Michigan. We've never really left. Kids grew up here. We're lucky to be with the Red Wings for 10 years, so the kids kind of grew up here. I had two girls go to the University of Michigan, and so the chance of getting them back here, we talk about baiting our children as they grow up and they move out. You know, I like them to come back and spend some time with you, so we've stayed here in Michigan. We got a good spot here. We enjoy it a lot.
So when does Mike and Renee Babcock jump on a plane and head back to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan to take on your next venture for, as we talked about the other day, for the next 18 or so months? You will be the head coach of the University of Saskatchewan Huskies. I know you're excited about that. When are you coming back this way?
Well, we're going to jump in the truck, my son and I, on August 13th and be there for the 15th. That's the plan. And my wife will show up when she decides, obviously. You know, it's been an interesting decision. We're real excited about it. We're fired up about the recruiting and the process and getting to know everyone. But obviously with COVID, you haven't been able to go in and out as much. So we're just going to arrive there and get up and running.
I know there was a number of orders of business, not least of which was finding your apprentice. I guess the gentleman who's going to be taking over the gig after a couple of years. You're going to be mentoring him over the next few years. There were other orders of business. Could you talk a little bit about your decision and who you picked as the coach? But also, the process also, Mike, wasn't just that. It also involved a lot of conversations via Zoom and whatnot with players coming in, not only recruiting, but current players. And you, as you said in one of the interviews I heard a few weeks ago, doing a lot of listening to what they had to say. What came out of all of that?
Well, I think the first thing, Reps, is when Dave Hardy approached it or came to me with this opportunity, the first thing I did, obviously, is look at the boss, looked at my wife and said, what do you think? She didn't give me the Heisman. So we looked at it. Then what happened is about 3 weeks later, because my son was around, he said to me, when I got together with him, we actually went skiing together. He said, this is something I'm interested in. And so once he told me he was interested, then I got interested. And so he's going to join us on our staff here. He's going to take his MBA and do that. And my wife's mom and dad are 90 and 87, and they're around. My family's around. So it was a big family decision. The second part, obviously, is I had a lot of fun, was at the University of Lethbridge and Red Deer College, so that was a big part of it. But so what we did is we just baby steps. Is once we took the job, we met with the leadership group first via Zoom. Then the second part, we met with all the players that way, and then we tried to meet with each one individually, which we have. And these guys aren't kids; they're men, and they know what they want. And so they've been straightforward with me. It's been very interesting and a lot of fun. Now, obviously, getting your schedule up and running, figuring out what's going on because of COVID, when you can start, when you can't, has been fun to be involved in as well.
Fire away, Peter.
Mike, a couple for you right off the bat is just your thoughts on the National Hockey League playoffs, the series involving Montreal and Tampa, and then twofold, I just want to know how you've enjoyed dabbling a little bit on the television side and what that work has been like for you in the studio.
So, I mean, first, we've really got into the play. It's interesting. I was just talking to an NHL GM this morning here, and I said to him, I've watched more Stanley Cup playoff hockey than I ever have because you were always in it and you watch your series. Now we've basically gone through the process of breaking down each game to set up our structure for the University of Saskatchewan, and so that's been fun. At the same time, you did it because you were working at NBC, which you talked about, and so you got to know what you're talking about when you arrive there, and that was a lot of fun. But as far as the series goes right now, obviously Game 1, you don't want to put too much in it. Tampa's got a real good hockey club, veteran-laden, proven, unbelievable in net, big, long, skilled on the back, real good depth up front, and make it hard on you physically as well. Montreal, their big four on the back end, I think has been fantastic. They make you pay. That didn't seem to bother Tampa in Game 1. And then Price is as good as they come. So I think you got the best two goaltenders in the world, and you both got really good D. I thought the kids looked young last game for Montreal, and I thought Tampa was relentless, and they got to the net over and over again and made it hard on Price.
Mike, you've been through this journey. You've won a Stanley Cup. You've been around so many special people, both on and off the ice. In order to win a Stanley Cup, that journey, when you think about maybe one or two things that people don't talk about in allowing you to be successful, what might come to mind there for you?
Well, I think this year's playoffs have been outstanding for anybody who wants to build a hockey club. I mean, you need a D that can flat out play. You need a big D. You need good goaltending. And then skill down the middle doesn't hurt you either, but you need depth and you need grit and the ability to forecheck and get the puck back and spend time in the offensive zone. And the bottom line is you got to keep it out of your own net. And so I think that's the message for everyone. I don't think it's ever changed. You know, I was fortunate enough to get to the Stanley Cup final 3 times. I had good teams 4 times. We had a chance with Detroit when we lost in the quarters to Anaheim. And every one of those journeys, even though they're all different, they're the same. Team defense, depth. You got to play everyone. Everyone on the team's got to be important, hard on the back. Got to get the puck out of your zone and spend time in the offensive zone. And so it's been fun to watch, and it's been, a lot of affirmation of what's going on.
Mike, I just have one last. Sorry, Cal. If I can, I just want to ask one last one. NHL players might go back to the Olympics again. You won a couple of gold medals, 2010, 2014. You won a World Junior going back to Switzerland in '97. For you, how special were those experiences, and would you like to see NHLers be there on a regular basis?
Well, I think the NHL should be there for sure. I think the Olympic Games is the best of the best. You have a chance to represent your country with the best athletes in the world against the best. I think it's as good a moment as you could ever have. And you get to share it with all the other Canadian athletes, or if you're an American, all the other American athletes. So both my experiences were very different. Vancouver, it was in Western Canada, it was in Canada. The chance to go there and to compete for your country. We had a real good team in the end. There was lots of tough moments. The crossover game against the Russians was scary. We got a big win there, giving up the lead against the Americans, I think with 20, I can't remember how many seconds, very short in the game. It was a tough one, but to win gold for Canada was special. And the great thing about the Canadian one, for me anyway, is you got to share it with your family. Your family was there, and all the great things in your life, actually all the things in your life you want to share with people that care about you, and whether it be good or bad, and to share that moment was special. Sochi was different. You got to know the athletes way better. We were all in the village. You spent way more time together, and that was a lot of fun. That was the best team I've ever coached, by far most dominant that I've ever been involved with. But your family wasn't there, so sharing it with them wasn't the same. So they've been special. Anytime I coached Canada 5 times, the World Cup, World Junior, World Championship, and had a lot of success and enjoyed it a lot, and got to meet a lot of good players. It set up recruiting, but it's special. You get to put on the sweater for your country, or you get to sing that national anthem. You only get to sing it when you win. It's pretty special.
I just had a little bit of a trip down memory lane there, Mike. When Peter actually invited me to join him for the Olympics that year in Vancouver, and I remember I was sitting in an Earl's, and all of a sudden I hear this kind of this, like, it started with one clap and then two and then three. And the next thing you know, the restaurant's going crazy. And I turn around, I look behind me, and there's you and Reenie walking out of the Earls. And I remember I was like a little kid. I ran out in the street. Babs, how you doing? I'm sure I was the last person you expected to see. But when you talked about being with your family, I could tell at that moment how special that was to you. All your kids were there.
Well, we did a real good job at Hockey Canada that year. Is the family program was outstanding, and the time we'd let the guys go home for the game all the time and spend time with their family. We had family around all the time. We had a special room, Molson House, for them after games, and you got to meet everybody's family, and that was great. It's interesting, Remps, is when you're young and you don't have any kids, it's a little bit different. But now that my kids are 28, 26, 24, they're older, they're adults, everything's about them, period. Is in the end, it doesn't matter how many cups you win and how many gold medals, stuff like that. What matters is your family and being around them and sharing your life with them. And so, it's nice to do all those other things, but your family's the key, and I'm real blessed that way. I got an unbelievable wife, which usually leads to an unbelievable life, and then spectacular kids.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I want to talk about that. The last thing I want to talk to you about, but before we get there, I would feel remiss if I didn't ask you a little bit about Moose Jaw, because I see the board and filling up with questions. And, I know it didn't end the way that you wanted it to there. It didn't end the way that I wanted it to end for all of us there either. But as I'm older, because you just struck a chord with me when you said what you just said. So I, myself, have two children now, and they're doing well. My daughter graduated with honors yesterday, as a matter of fact, from Campbell Collegiate. Met a great girl from Swift Current. Life is great. But I can remember when you and I picked you up at the airport the day that you flew in to do your first press conference, and I'd been just hired that day myself. I was 18 years old. I think you were 29. 4 months later, you're the GM of the team. So there's you at 29. Reaver was about the same age. Ray Bennett came on as an assistant GM. We were all in our 20s except me. I was a kid. The players were older than me, for crying out loud. I thought I knew everything. I knew nothing. But it was a different time. That would never happen now. That might happen in the SJ, but that would never happen in the Western Hockey League, where you got everybody running the team is in their 20s. So when you think back to those times, do you ever, what kind of memories do you take out of that? Because I know it ended bad, but what's your overall remembering your start in the WHL and Moose Jaw and everything that comes along with it? I'm fascinated to get this answer.
Well, the first thing is, Remps, it didn't end bad. We got fired. That's coaching. Move on with it. When I left Red Deer College, I had an unbelievable job at Red Deer College. I was just getting married, and my mom was dying of cancer, and I thought it was kind of a message, come closer to Saskatoon. So I was able to visit my mom before she passed. When I got to Moose Jaw, obviously, it's a great little town. I love the people. Jack Berry's still probably farming. Well, not still, probably he is for sure. His kids are farming there. Good friend of mine. You think about the people, Jim Large, real good people. I remember enjoying the community. I'd never ever been booed as a coach or come out and have my car all spilled. Remember we had the Moose Jaw Warrior logo on the car, and you'd have chocolate milk all over your car. But I thought that was a good initiation program for me to figure out what was going on. But, it was interesting. My wife taught in the community. We loved it. Nally was born there, and what else can you ask for? The other thing is I'm a big believer in life. When one thing happens, something else is going to happen next that's going to be positive for you. And I've always believed I could disarm the bomb. Didn't really know where it was going next, but thought it was going to work out. I ended up at the University of Lethbridge and won a national championship there, and it was spectacular. And that's part of the reason that I'm going back to the U of S, is I had so much fun there.
Well, Mike, I got to tell you this, and I'm not just saying this because the two of you are here. I was thinking about this on the drive, that how ironic this is that I wanted Peter to co-host with me, and then you're the first person I asked to be a guest, because I don't normally do this. I'm a financial advisor. I'm not a media guy, but I do enjoy doing it from time to time. The two hardest working people that I've ever worked with, ever, are the two guys that are on this show with me right now. And I remember that, Mike, when you left Moose Jaw and I came to you and I thanked you for what you'd done for me, you said, here's how you can repay me back. Be a good husband, be a good dad, work hard. And I think I've done those things, but it's been a long time since I thanked you for showing me that, because I didn't understand what that meant back in the day. But as I'm older now I get it, and I just wanted to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's kind of you to say. Obviously, I've had lots of great experiences, lots of people over the years. I'm a big believer that if you love what you do, you don't have to work hard. You just do what you do. And I've been really blessed with that is I've got to do what I want my whole life and really, really enjoyed every second of it, so it didn't feel like work. And I'm sure Pete's exactly the same that way. Is you can't be good at it for a long period of time if you don't love it, because you can't work hard enough to keep yourself separated from the group. So I'm glad to hear it's worked out with the wife and the kids. Remps for you, that's spectacular, because in the end, that's all that really matters. We're pumped to be coming home to Saskatchewan. That'll be great. Look forward to being there, and a little bit of that great Western beer there. That'll be a lot of fun for us there, and hang out with people we know and love, so that'll be good.
I love it. I love the idea you had that the Babcocks, Reeves, and Rempels get together after one of your games, or we get together in the season. I can't wait for that. I'm glad to hear you're skiing, fishing, hunting, and doing all the stuff that you didn't get enough chance to do for the last number of years. It warmed my heart when you told me that you're having the time of your life right now, and I'm looking forward to touching base with you when you come back to Saskatchewan. And I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today, Mike. And again, thanks for your leadership back in the day. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Good seeing you, Pete.
You bet.
You too, Mike. All the best.
Thanks,
well,
guys.
I almost got through that without crying, but that's good. That's good. That's nothing wrong with that.
That was a nice moment.
Well, it's the truth. The guy was hard on me, boy, but you know what? When you got a pat on the back from him, there was nothing better.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.